Hello, all the people of the world on YouTube, and a special thanks to all my little lynxes out there. Today on Omicron Lynxes New Englander, I'd like to introduce you guys to New Englander houses, houses in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. This particular little house behind me is the current house in which I reside. Oh, here, an interesting staple. Mailbox on the side of the road. Would be our front yard. Now, what's really cool is, while the house looks really small from over here, and see the house looks really small when you look at it directly from the front, then from the side, looks a lot bigger. Now with this fieldstone style house, garage being under the house, as opposed to on the side of the house. Now the garage, the first floor, and the second floor. This is the side yard. This is the side yard. This is what we usually just call a bean tree. My mom had one of these growing up in her yard at my grandparents' place. But theirs actually produced beans. This one doesn't produce beans. See, this is the New Englander. So I should actually say it's most common in New England for people not to use the front door. We usually don't use the front door. Some people's houses, because of whatever their setup is, will use the front door. Very common for a lot of houses to have a front door, a side door that leads to the kitchen, a back door that leads to the backyard, and then maybe another door that leads to the basement. Sometimes, like my particular house, there's a front door and a back door. The back door does lead to the kitchen. Unlike the common American, well, New Englander family, we do not use the front door as our main entrance. We use the back door. We don't have a side door, but these stairs are always fun. Go up. Got a pretty big deck. Say, check out the backyard. It's got a fire pit, about 10 years worth of sticks from pruning the branches. And for those of you who watch my South Crow hiking video, there are rock walls. Okay, so in the house we go. Now, a lot of people call this a screen door. It's not a screen door. It's a storm door. There is something that's called a screen door, also a porch door. This is, so even for other people in America. Now, definitely in New England, especially if you want to take care of your house, you should have an awning. And while some places like this have an entry room, without an entry room, there's a storm door, all right, and then the main door. My fellow Americans, this is not a screen door. When you go to the hardware store, you say, I'm looking for, and you say, I'm looking for the arm thingy for my screen door. So you know the words, all the words. Storm door closing piston, or piston arm. Storm door. It protects your main door, or in my case, my entry, from the weather, from storms and wind and rain and snow. It hits this door instead of your main door, which I also mention quite often is in the same frame, unless you have an entry room. We have an entry room. So what's really cool about this, pull the door open, press the button and it stays open. You have the entry room. And here with the entry room, you usually have a place where people put their shoes down on the bottom and jackets. You know, you come into the house, you take all your stuff off here, especially your winter stuff or your dirty springtime. And then, like I mentioned, usually the side or back door leads right into the kitchen. So here's a kitchen. This is a dining room table, but for a while, my mom had a pool table in the dining room. So we had this out here, but it also makes it easier when we're cooking and stuff. We have a place to put everything down. So come into the kitchen. So it is common, especially in New England area, to have pantries, places where we store our dry goods. This is a place where you usually store your pastas, your canned goods. If you don't have a drawer for them, it's also where we put stuff like our saran wrap and aluminum foil. People put their coffee and other little, all your different dry goods that don't need to be frozen, especially if you don't have a lot of especially if you don't have a lot of cupboards. Those are our storage cupboards. So we just have enough room for pots and pans, which is why we have the pantry. So at the kitchen here, we have another popular site, double sink. And you want a double sink. Double sinks are amazing. Some places just have one sink. This is a double medium depth sink. Some sinks can be deeper than this and some can be more shallow. This is a modern style faucet. I actually just put this in the beginning of the year. So this style here, hot towards the wall, cold towards you. And this little button here. Another thing that's really cool about this, it's got a sprayer. We also just had our plumbing updated. And so for anyone who hasn't seen it, this is the underneath, all of our plumbing. Drains into there. It's kind of hard to see with the low lighting. And then it goes in the back. And it's going to be really hard to see. There's a cast iron pipe that all the drainage goes to. Now this is our refrigerator. Right? There are several different styles of refrigeration that's common in America. There's two very popular styles that have become more and more popular over the past 20 years, the change of the century. This style here actually became popular around the time I was born in the 80s. These a double French, what we call a French door refrigerator, full length. These are my personal favorite. In a lot of the videos that you guys might be watching out there about America, and you see these refrigerators that might have two doors, but there's a section on the top or there's a section on the bottom. Now, the ones with two doors that have a section on the bottom are a top-bottom French door freezer drawer style. The thing on the bottom is a freezer drawer. I don't like those. I do not like those at all. There's like hardly any room in the freezer. And all the people out there in the world on YouTube that are not from America are probably thinking, what do you need such a larger freezer for? It's very popular in America for Americans to go shopping for 2 weeks to 6 weeks worth of food. And it's also very popular for us to get frozen meals that you just throw in the microwave. If you ask most Americans what their favorite thing is in the kitchen, what their favorite appliance is, it's going to be one of two things: the microwave or the coffee maker. So over here we have our microwave. Over here we have the stove. Now, above the stove, sometimes you can have over the stove microwaves, this microwave isn't just countertop. It cannot, actually I'm not sure. Not all microwaves sit on the counter. Some microwaves will be what we call over the stove microwaves. But outside of that, we have stovetop vents. Newtone, very popular, especially since it's the main brand for the big orange hardware store that I used to work for. So with these guys here, you have your fan, high, low. These are actually supposed to have ductwork, big aluminum, galvanized aluminum hosing that goes out to a vent. This doesn't have it. This is ultimately just an aesthetic. There are laws, especially in the Commonwealth, that pertain to stove ventilation and bathrooms with a bathtub or shower. There's rules for the ventilation. This kitchen does have windows along that aren't that far from the stove. But so this is more for lighting. This is more for lighting than it is for the fan, because there's no ductwork. So over here we have the stove. This is a gas burner stove. My family is heavy supporters of gas stoves. With gas stoves, when the power goes out, because the power does go out, especially where we are, we're in the backwoods part of the city. So we have a lot of tree branches that fall down, people going really fast down the road and hit a telephone pole and the power goes out. So when you're electric, the power goes out, you have no power. When you have gas, it doesn't matter if the power goes out, you have gas. This one here actually comes with a skillet. And while we don't have tea kettles, we do have water kettles. So it is common in America to have water kettles on the back burner of the stove. Over here, so should also mention, these things, both of these things are quite common. Sometimes on an exterior wall of houses that were built before the 70s, you will see a thermometer on the wall that tells you the temperature inside and outside, and these little doors that are on the wall that are a little spice cupboard, and they're on the wall to keep them fresh with the outside temperatures. And over here we have the dining room, but it's kind of just become a spare room. Well, this is an older style, and the window serves as ventilation. Over here we have a tub. This is a pretty standard tub. I do believe it is a 60. Got our new setup. I just put that in the end of last year. And our American toilet. It's also very common in America for in the kitchen, and there'll be a door that leads downstairs. Oh no. So yeah, so it's very common for the interior basement door to be in a kitchen. We'll tour down there in a bit. First off, we're going to go with the living room. There's a nice little living room. Have another ceiling fan. There's one in the kitchen, one in here, one in an upstairs bedroom. Got our TV and a fireplace. This is a real fireplace. You have firewood. Something really interesting. So this trunk right here, this trunk, I made that myself in high school. The trunk I made for my mother was supposed to go on the end of her bed. Now over here is supposed to be an office, but my mother uses it as her personal bedroom. It's the mother's room. It's the mother's room. So now we're going to take a journey up the stairs. Over here is the spare bedroom. The spare bedroom has its own ceiling fan. Nice little window, see the trees. This is a door that's a attic crawl space access door. So in here is a crawl space. Ooh, dark and spooky. So you have, this is the roof, and crawl spaces are all our junk. Not all this junk was back here. We're cleaning everything out for the move. Now, ladies and gentlemen, my bedroom. My bedroom, put in this, got my fish tank, movie collection, AC. My mom has one in her room. Air conditioning. This house that we're in has forced hot water radiator heating. So the house in the first floor heats, and it just heats by taking hot water and forcing it through pipes into these radiators. But there's nothing in the house other than the ceiling fans to cool it down. Whether you're in a house like mine, where there is no central air conditioning, or you're in a house that has central air conditioning, it's still common, especially in New England, where it's hot, it's cold, it's hot, it's cold, it's humid, it's dry. It can be cold and humid and hot and dry. It can be cold and humid in the morning and hot and dry midday, and then hot and muggy at night. The temperature goes all over the place in Massachusetts. We have 3 different weather currents that intersect right here. And some people like it hot and some people like it cold. I like it colder than a lot of other people do. I'm very warm-blooded. So, yabba yabba jibba jabba. To get to the point, even in houses with central air conditioning, it's quite common for someone in their own bedroom to have a window air conditioner or an oscillating heater, because while most of the people in the house like it warm, an individual person might like it cold. Now, as I'm talking about all this, you might be asking, what is all this nastiness here? The nastiness here is because I like personally to be up during the night and sleep during the morning hours. I usually don't get up until anywhere from 10 in the morning to noon. So this paper thing, I take the paper thing down, it's a lot more manual labor. So I take this, I put this down, and then I can still use my air conditioner with it being dark and not have to pull this across the air conditioner. Okay, everybody, last stop on our journey, the basement. This is a fieldstone basement, older style. A lot of people don't go with it because it starts to crack and you have to patch it up. Have our furnace, new hot water heater, backup generator we just got last winter. I was gonna hook it up, but we're moving now. My mom smokes in the basement. Got the oil tank. We put the oil in there for the furnace to heat the house. So to save electricity, I put a second light over here. So when you turn the main light on, you're not using so much light. So have our dryer, our new washing machine, and some of the things we like. Tide is a popular brand. Fabric softener. We go to the attached garage. Now, There's usually a garage door motor that's hooked up to the door that was stripped out before we lived here. Because the garage door motor is all stripped out, in 12 years we've been here, gotta manually lift it. People of the world on YouTube and all my many links is out there. I hope you enjoyed this tour of my New England house in north central Massachusetts, which I will be leaving, and my next journey will be to the southeast, still on the mainland, but next to the island of Cape Cod. So the next housing, so that means that not too far in the future, there'll be a new video about a new house in America on the New Englander. I hope everybody out there has a great day. Watch some more with me. Omicron links